over in Birmingham, we have Amir Khan going up against Samuel Vargas in quite an interesting fight, to be fair. Now, of course, Amir Khan, he's been out of the ring for a long time since he fought Saul Canelo Alvarez, and has come back, fought Phil LaGreco and blasted him out. So he needs a few rounds, and hopefully Samuel Vargas can give him that. Now, as always, we always look to what is next. What is Amir Khan going to do next? What is Kell Brook going to do next? Because ultimately, people want Amir Khan versus Kell Brook, and they've been wanting that for a long time. The hype for it has died down a little bit, and of course, Kell Brook, since he lost to Errol Spence Jr., he moved up to 154 pounds and took on Sergey Rabchenko, and again blasted him out. He was supposed to fight on the Dillian Whyte and Joseph Parker undercard against Brandon Cook, but he got injured in himself, so of course couldn't make that fight. And that would have been ideal to get a few more rounds in. But Kell Brook, he seems to want a big fight now, and of course he was offered an opportunity to fight on the Joshua Povetkin card as well, but he said, no, I just want the big fights now, meaning Amir Khan. Anyway, Eddie Hearn has spoken to Sky Sports and has given his thoughts and his ideas of what could potentially be next for Amir Khan and Kell Brook. So we'll get straight into Eddie Hearn's statement, and this is what Eddie Hearn had to say. This fight between Amir Khan and Samuel Vargas is the fight we find out what Khan has left. But Khan has a decision to make. If he beats Vargas, probably within the next 2 weeks, do you want Kell Brook? Brook has said to me, I want a big fight. He was going to have a run out at Wembley on the Joshua Povetkin bill, but he was just, I want the big one. I met with Manny Pacquiao's people last week as well, and if Khan is too expensive for Pacquiao, because Pacquiao is very expensive in himself, Pacquiao could fight Kell Brook. But Brook is going to have to be at 147 pounds to fight either of those two, so he really has to start now in the gym. He will make 147. I still think he's better at 154, but he's got 16 weeks to do it from now, and he'll be okay. Brook said, who am I fighting? I said, it doesn't matter. You may fight either Amir Khan or Manny Pacquiao, but you need to get in the gym now. Could Brook steal the Pacquiao fight and Amir Khan is left with nothing? Is Brook about to gate cash the Pacquiao-Khan fight? It's wide open for anybody to fight anybody. So that is Eddie Hearn's statement. So what he's saying here is, in an ideal world, now he has penciled in a December day at the Principality Stadium, Cardiff, Wales, for 80,000 people for Kell Brook versus Amir Khan, or Amir Khan versus Kell Brook, depends how you look at it. So that's the fight that he wants, and that's a fight that a lot of the fans would want. But if you throw Manny Pacquiao in the mix as well, I think the fans will be happy with Amir Khan versus Manny Pacquiao or Kell Brook versus Manny Pacquiao equally as much as Amir Khan versus Kell Brook. So it is a trilogy of fights that I think the fans will be more than happy with. They really would be. Now, if, for example, Amir Khan is given the choice, you have a choice of Kell Brook or Manny Pacquiao, which one does he choose? The chances are he's probably going to choose Manny Pacquiao. For Khan and Pacquiao, these guys have been going backwards and forwards for years. They are good friends, and they tried to set up a fight about a year or so ago over in Dubai. But of course, what they forgot to do was include Bob Arum on the deal. So they couldn't get the funds together and all this kind of thing, even though they were promised the funds from Dubai. They couldn't get it, and ultimately they couldn't get the fight done. Now, Manny Pacquiao, he's at the stage of his career now. He's literally at the very tail end of his career, and I for one was questioning what he really had left after the Jeff Horn defeat. But of course he took on Lucas Matisse and demolished him, absolutely schooled him. So he's got a lot left. So he's definitely going to be a tricky fight for Amir Khan or Kell Brook. He really is. Manny Pacquiao is the WBA 147 pound welterweight champion, but it's still undecided whether or not he's the super champion or he's the regular champion after beating Matisse because of the inactivity of Keith Thurman. So, for example, if Amir Khan chooses Manny Pacquiao and Manny Pacquiao agrees to this, what happens with Kell Brook? So Eddie Hearn is saying to Kell Brook, get yourself into the gym now. So in the next 16 weeks or so, you can make the 147 pound. So if he does all that and he doesn't get either of those fights, what does he do? What options does he have? Now, he is the WBC Silver Champion. I believe he's still the Silver Champion. So could he potentially fight Jermell Charlo? That would be great. I would love that fight. But personally, I would like him to take a tune-up before he takes on Amir Khan, Manny Pacquiao, or Charlo, or a Jarrett Hurd, for example, because his name's been muted as well. But again, what does Kell Brook have left? How much heart does he have left? How much desire does he have left to achieve? He said that he wants to be a two-weight world champion. So, of course, that means 154 pound. But if there's an option of Amir Khan there, is he going to take it? Of course he's going to take it. And can he make 147? It will be one hell of a struggle. And for me, I don't like seeing Kell Brook on the scales at 147 because he looks like a skeleton. He looks ill. He really does. But, of course, he was the IBF welterweight world champion. So at least now, because he's not IBF champion, he doesn't have to make the same day weigh-in as well as. So on fight night, he's not as drained as he normally would be. So making 147 the day before, he's got 24 hours to rehydrate, and things will be a bit easier for him because he's no longer IBF world champion. So maybe he can just make the weight on the scales, then afterwards, come fight night, he'll be all right within a 24-hour period. Amir Khan, given the choice, he'd make Kell Brook go down to 147. Of course he would. I know there's been talk about a catch weight of maybe 150 pounds, because obviously Kell Brook, he would prefer it to be 154. Amir Khan would prefer it to be 147. A catch weight 150, that will probably be a fair thing to do, but Amir Khan will probably insist on 147. So Kell Brook is going to be at a disadvantage from kind of that perspective. But ultimately, you know, you guys tell me, what fight do you want? Do you want to see Amir Khan take on Manny Pacquiao or Kell Brook? Do you want Kell Brook to take on Manny Pacquiao? Does it matter? For me, it doesn't really matter. I think with Amir Khan, Kell Brook, it settles their beef. But for me, I think the loser will retire. I honestly do. I don't think that the loser will go on at all. If one of these guys take on Manny Pacquiao, it's a huge fight and there's a world title on the line. So again, you can really weigh it up. But Manny Pacquiao, of course, he'll have to fight in the UK or somewhere else. But we know that Pacquiao has predominantly been fighting in the US. He did fight in Malaysia for his last fight. But he didn't want to fight in America anymore because he owes some tax money or something. I'm sure that's what he said, that the only fight that he's willing to have in America will be against Floyd Mayweather Jr. for a rematch, because that fight will pay for all the tax that he owes to the US government. I'm not exactly sure of the details, but if all that is true and I read that right a couple of months ago, then it's not really a good look, is it, for the senator of the Philippines to owe tax to America? Not really a good thing, is it? But you know what? It doesn't really matter. For me, I'm happy with any of those fights, to be perfectly honest. In an ideal world, I would love Kell Brook to have fought on the Joshua Povetkin undercard. It doesn't matter who against, just somebody, anybody. Just get a couple of rounds in, because ultimately, if he fights Amir Khan or Manny Pacquiao, these guys are going to give him rounds. And he needs the stamina. He needs to be back in the swing of it. Having, 2 rounds against Sergey Rabchenko, for me, is not good enough. And likewise, I suppose, with Amir Khan against Samuel Vargas, that if this fight only goes 1 or 2 rounds, again, that's not ideal preparation time. But you know what? Ultimately, I hope one of these fights happen, and I hope it happens in the UK. Ultimately, if one of them is going to be Manny Pacquiao, I think Manny Pacquiao, he only wants the big fights. Is Pacquiao willing to unify against Keith Thurman? Maybe, because Keith Thurman is inactive. Is he likely to do it Errol Spence Jr.? Unlikely, I would have thought. But, you know, Manny Pacquiao, he does like the big fights, and he's no coward, that's for sure. Will he fight Bud Crawford? Maybe. I know that these guys have been talking about it for quite some time, but I think both guys want a hell of a lot of money and pay-per-view. Is that fight pay-per-view in America? Again, there's people out there better placed to decide whether or not that's pay-per-view than what I am here in the UK. So, for me, I think, it's just my opinion, of course, I don't think that Manny Pacquiao is interested in unification. And I think a fight against Kell Brook or Amir Khan is pretty much right up his street. But ultimately, we'll have to wait and see. So, anyway, you drop your thoughts below. With those 3 fighters, Amir Khan, Kell Brook, and Manny Pacquiao, which fight would you like to see the most? You drop your thoughts below, click that thumbs up and subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.